The president yesterday, John, said he has no confidence in the death toll numbers presented by the Palestinians in Gaza. What's he basing that on? How did he reach this conclusion?
Well, we all know that the Gazan Ministry of Health is just a front for Hamas. It's run by Hamas, a terrorist organization. I've said it myself up here. We can't take anything coming out of Hamas, including the so-called Ministry of Health, at face value.
And secondly, the president's talking more about humanitarian pause and reviving the Israeli-Palestinian peace process. What's prompting this tone shift?
So, two thoughts here, Steve. For one, the president has never backed away or never stopped affirming the need for a two-state solution. Since coming into office, we've been working on that very hard. And I know it's a lofty goal, and it's taken a lot of people a long time to try to get there, and we haven't gotten there. But he's not stopped working towards that goal, and he still believes, as he said yesterday, that when this conflict is over, that still has to be the goal we're driving to, a state for Palestinians that they can live in peace and security and justice. That is a strategic long-term goal. In a tactical sense, as Secretary Blinken said, we do think that there should be consideration made right now for humanitarian pauses. These are localized, temporary, specific pauses on the battlefield so that humanitarian assistance can get in to people that need it, or the people can get out of that area in relative safety. That's what a humanitarian pause is, and we think it's an idea worth exploring.
Good. Just to follow up on the first thing that Steve asked you quickly about the president's lack of confidence in the numbers that we're getting out of Gaza right now. As you noted, the Gaza Health Ministry is run by Hamas. But to be clear, the president and the White House, you don't dispute that thousands of Palestinians, many of them innocent civilians, have been killed by Israeli strikes so far, do you?
Of course not. We absolutely know that the death toll continues to rise in Gaza. Of course, we know that. But what we're saying is that we shouldn't rely on numbers put forth by Hamas and the Ministry of Health.
So they say it's more than 7,000. Is there any way to assess how many it is? Or I mean, the president said it was a pretty dramatic moment when he said, yeah, we don't have any confidence in that. We respect that you can't take Hamas at its word, but it does appear by all independent journalism, including that by a lot of people in the room, that thousands of Palestinians have been killed.
We would not dispute that.
Okay, then let me ask you if I can very quickly. Is the White House satisfied that Israel, to this point, has obeyed the laws of war, the rules of the war, as the president has indicated, and is Israel, in the White House's view, doing enough to this point to protect innocent lives?
Again, we're not going to react in real time to events unfolding on the battlefield and every allegation and every strike. We're just not going to do that.
But that means it's not until the war is completed that you guys can have an assessment of whether
I didn't say that either. I just said we're not going to react in real time here, Peter. We have been in constant touch with our Israeli counterparts since the very early hours of this conflict to make sure we're asking them the hard questions that we want them to ask themselves, and to reiterate, as the president said yesterday, to reiterate that there is an added burden here on Israel to make sure that they are doing everything they can to minimize civilian casualties, and we're in constant communication with them about that.
Thanks, Corinne. John, to follow up on my colleague's questions, does the president have faith in the numbers released by the West Bank Ministry of Health, which is run by Palestinian authorities, that says there's been more than 100 West Bank Palestinians killed by what the president called extremist settlers?
I know of no dispute with the rough numbers coming out of there either. We know that there's been quite a bit of violence in the West Bank as well. Obviously, the casualties are nowhere near the numbers that we're seeing coming out of Gaza.
Okay, can I just follow up on the meeting between Jake Sullivan and Wang Yi tomorrow? What are the expectations? Will the president join the meeting? What are the key focus, and what kind of role can the U.S. expect from China on the war in Gaza?
That wasn't one more question. That was like 7 more questions. Mr. Sullivan's looking forward to this discussion with Wang Yi. I think you know he's going to be starting out with meeting Secretary Blinken later this afternoon, and then tomorrow with Jake here at the White House. And it's a chance to continue the conversation that Jake himself has had with our PRC counterparts now for many, many months. It's another milestone in that effort to keep the lines of communication open with the PRC. Now, it'll be an opportunity for Mr. Sullivan to obviously address areas of concern that we continue to have with some of some of the PRC behavior, particularly in the South China Sea. But it'll also be an opportunity to explore ways in which we can continue to keep these channels open and to try to get open the military-to-military channel communication, which is still closed.
The role of the Gaza?
I'm sorry?
China's role in the conflict.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I have no doubt that part of this discussion, the agenda will be what's going on in the Middle East and getting the Chinese perspective and certainly looking for ways to encourage them to be helpful.
Go ahead, Michael.
Corinne. John, the Florida governor says that the state is sending weapons and drones to Israel at the request of the consulate in Miami. Have you been coordinating with the Florida government on this, and can states just send weapons and other material to foreign states?
I would certainly let the governor speak to what Florida is doing. It is not illegal for the governor of a state to offer a measure of foreign assistance to another country. There are laws and regulations which govern how the export process is handled. And that's all done through commerce. I couldn't speak with authority today about whether the governor is checked all those boxes or not. You really should talk to him and his staff. But it's not illegal for a state governor to do that kind of thing.
Just one quick follow-up on all of the questions regarding the death toll coming out of the Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza. Do you have any sense, you acknowledge that thousands have died in Gaza, do you have any sense of the percentage of those that are Hamas militants versus civilians?
I do not.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.